Oh,
Intro. My bad, guys. Sorry.
We welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And by our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and check them out at www.crowdplayapp.com for details. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
On smoke, it's all about the cash flow. So come on and get this money, man. Getting paper, and we always do it major on the slow, you know it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Game Winning Drive back at you again. Second episode. I missed last week, unfortunately, due to work, but my boys got me always with me. I got my boy Ryan Viegel here. He hosted it. He held it down last week. I appreciate you, Ryan, for holding it down for us last week. Our partners in crime, Alex Copenhagen is gone due to daddy issues, so he will be back next week. And then Brant Meeks is gone on vacation with his wife, I guess. I hope. I don't know. But they will hopefully be back next week. It's okay. Me and Ryan going to hold the show down tonight. Got a lot going at you guys tonight. It's going to be crazy. We have some fantasy talk. We're going to talk about Josh Allen's new contract. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the world around the NFL. And we're always going to talk about buy and sell. And then we actually did a survey with about 30 other people that are podcasters, including our own group, our own network here at the Sports Network. And we are going to reveal what we averaged out, the top 30 NFL wide receivers heading into the 2021 season. So I'm really excited to reveal that, Ryan. But first and foremost, how was your weekend? And how are you feeling, bro?
It's good, man. I'm out here in Virginia, which it is getting hot as, won't say it, but damn, I'm not used to this weather out here yet. I miss San Diego. I miss home. Coming home soon. I'm excited for football season to start. Crazy that we're going to have football every single weekend coming forward. So excited to see what my Chargers do out there.
Yes, sir. You already know that we are Charger fans and we cannot wait. It's going to be exciting stuff. So, guys, let's get into it. Guys, give us your comments. Give us your questions. We'll do our best to answer them best as we can. I know fantasy drafts are around the corner. It's already starting. If you want some advice, me and Ryan are really good at that. So we can give you the best advice that we can. But let's start it off. And please join us with your comments, like I said. Guys, first down hot takes is always our first down. Big news came out a couple of days ago. Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen's contract just got signed for an extension, 6 years, $258 million, $150 million guaranteed cash money from the former Wyoming State quarterback. Hey, Ryan, good or bad?
I got good. I may be in the minority on this. I'm reading the Twitter feeds. I'm seeing what people are saying online. It's very back and forth. I feel like a lot of people are the sticker shock is scaring everybody. The reality is that in 2022 they've already agreed to a $208 million salary cap. It could, by the time his contract is done, the salary cap in the NFL could easily beat $260 million. So he might come at a pretty good price here, back down to 41. There were some guys out there that were saying that they thought he was going to be 43. So Bills made a good decision. They locked down their quarterback, Josh Allen. Good on him, man. He showed up. He showed what he's capable of. It's crazy when you get in when you get down in the dirt and work on your stuff. The guy had the talent. He put it back out in the field and hell, almost made a Super Bowl run. So good on him. I got good contract. I think that it's going to pan out for them.
Yeah, man, I definitely agree with you, man. I think this is a great deal. It gets done. It's over and done with. They have him now, I believe, till 2028. So I mean, it's a great deal for the Buffalo Bills. Hopefully, they get to keep their stadium and they get to enjoy their team there. And keep their team and the whole stadium issue going on over there, threatening to go to Austin. I don't see that happening. I don't see that playing out. But it's a great. It's a great deal for Buffalo. I love it, man. The kid's it's a dual threat quarterback, can run around the pocket, can anticipate pressure really well, has a trouble fumbling the ball when he runs, but that could be fixed, and has one hell of an arm, probably a top 3 arm in the NFL if you really want to go down the measures and see the true stats of him throwing the ball. We need to work on his accuracy a little bit. We saw that a little bit last year with Stephon Diggs coming in, and he's actually improved his game a lot with Diggs there. He finally got a number 1 receiver, and we saw what those two can do as a tandem. Is pretty lethal. That offense is lethal. The running game needs to get a little bit better for Buffalo, but they got the deal done, Ryan. It's over and done with. Now they don't have to worry about it. They can move on to other things and worry about greener pastures. It's a great move by Buffalo. With that being said, we got a comment already. Austin, former co-host here at Game with Drive. I wanted to see him perform another year before this contract, but why not lock up your quarterback? I agree. Why not? I understand what the trepidation that people have of not wanting to see another year from him, Ryan. But I mean, I'm satisfied from what I've seen, and I'm not a Buffalo Bills fan, but I'm a Josh Allen fan. I liked him when he came out of college. I was high on him, and I thought he went to a perfect team in Buffalo. He's got I believe 2 postseason wins underneath his belt. I mean, he's a game away from the Super Bowl. So I mean that pays dividends, I think, for a guy who virtually had no running game and and a depleted defense. So we'll see what Buffalo could do this year. Any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I fully agree. Signing him is the right thing to do. You don't want your rookie on a rookie contract going into a year where if he doesn't sign down that long-term contract and he gets hurt, he's screwed. They're not going to re-sign him. And then now he's an ACL tear, and he's going to miss the first 3 weeks of the 2022 season. And now you have a quarterback out there essentially in a lame duck year where he's not going to dive for that 3rd and 9 to get the touchdown, to get the first down. And you want your guy out there trying to make the plays. I don't think that's in Josh Allen's character. There is, it's in every single sport. Anytime anybody signs a big giant contract like this, they tend to have a down or off year. Why that happens, who knows? Maybe it's because they take the time off a little bit. It's like, hey, I'm already paid now. I don't need to work as hard or do anything along those lines. So we may see a little bit of regression from Josh Allen, but the reality is I think he's going to be every bit worth of this contract. Like you said, dual threat, and he's just a good football player.
I agree. With that being said, guys, let's get into our next topic. Our next topic's pretty crazy. I didn't see this coming. Indianapolis Colts extended GM Chris Ballard and head coach Frank Reich to 2026. Ryan, take the lead on this, man. I was a little puzzled by it. I get the GM part. I don't get the head coaching part.
And that's the thing. I think that obviously, so Ballard shows up and Pagano's there. He obviously got rid of Pagano as fast as he could, and he brought in Reich. Now, they've had some success, from a team that's been shopping quarterbacks year by year. That, the only losing season they had really was when Luck left and they had Jacoby Brissett. And but he's built that team extremely well. So I'm a big fan of Ballard. I think he's a great GM. I think he's done a lot with the little that he's had. But the Frank Reich call, now that is super interesting. I don't know I don't get it. I don't know why for that long. That's a long time. So it makes me feel that Ballard and Reich are like, they're good buddies. And he said, if I'm coming, I want my head coach to come with me.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not in favor of it. Ballard, 100%. I would lock that guy down as long as possible. When it comes to Reich, I need at least another year or two to be proved wrong that this isn't the guy. Because now he's got no quarterback again. Like, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't like it. I like the GM. I don't like the head coach.
Agree. Yeah, man. I'm on the same boat with you. I think Chris Ballard's the best GM across the NFL. The moves that he's made, just the pure drafting for him has been top notch. Finding diamonds in the rough, Jonathan Taylor's the huge value there. Quentin Nelson getting a guard at, I believe, at number 2 overall a couple years ago when guards weren't even going in the first round. But he stuck to his guns. It still takes a lot. It takes a lot of grit to push back the naysayers and say, no, I'm going to go get with Quentin Nelson because this guy looks like a future Hall of Famer. And it turns out that he was right. I mean, Quentin Nelson has been probably arguably the best guard, according to PFF and according to Andrew Trammell, that he is he looks like the best guard in the league. So I mean, it's he's been hitting on a lot of rights. There is some wrongs. Of course, you're always going to have some wrongs, but Ballard gets deals done. He gets deals on the cheap. He brought in Phillip Rivers last year, our former quarterback at the Chargers, got him in the right system with Frank Reich, a system that he was familiar with in a COVID offseason and was literally downs away from beating the Buffalo Bills in the wild card last year in the playoffs. If it wasn't for the the defense having such a dismay in the second half, and I think Rivers played a good enough game to get them to the divisional round, and it's a game of inches. Football's a game of inches. It's a game of decisions, and I think Ballard's on one of the top. Frank Reich, I think Frank Reich is a good coach, but head coach, I don't know. I'm still iffy on him. I love Frank. I love his philosophy. Like I said, bringing Rivers in last year was huge. It just seems to me like they are just living off that 2017 season with Nick Foles, and he hasn't won. He hasn't done anything in the postseason to warrant an extension. And I maybe you guys can clue me in and talk to me about it. Well, what am I missing? If me and Ryan are missing anything on this? But to me, man, it just seems, Ryan, like he's just riding off that coattail from 2017. I know they brought in Carson Wentz. We'll see if that magic can be reciprocated with Indy. It's a way better team than Philly. I think we both agree to that.
100%.
But you extended him, so now he's obviously off the hot seat, right?
Yeah. No, that's the thing. Like popping in the comments here. Frank won the Eagles a Super Bowl. His offense took Hughes to 13-3. There's no doubt about it. But here's the thing: when it comes to the NFL, you got to have a short-term memory, man, because you win a Super Bowl in 2017. That's awesome. Good on you. We're 5 years out now. We're in 2011 or 2021 now, and you're with a different franchise, a different team. This is a completely different team. He's had a lot of successes with it. There's no doubt about it. But I don't know, man. It's I think it's a little soon personally, but that's just me. That's my thoughts on it.
Definitely. And to piggyback on what Austin said, I think if he turns Carson Wentz's career around, people will accept the contract extension. I agree. I agree. That's it right there. That is the smoking gun. If he could turn Carson Wentz back to the former MVP form before he tore his ACL against the Rams, dive into the end zone. If he's able to do that, and we see Carson in a playoff game actually play a playoff game, and he turns out to be a productive playoff game, win or lose, I mean, that pays dividends to the contract extension, and it pays dividends to the trade for Carson Wentz. But to play devil's advocate, if it doesn't work out, it makes him look even worse. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. Moving on, we have, this guy right here, Mr. Complicated, Mr. Complicated person himself. Now, here's the rundown, okay? Here's the rundown. He gets hurt last year, high ankle sprain, own teammate. Sean Payton should have never let him in. I don't know why he wasn't out of the game in the fourth. Got his ankle rolled over, high ankle sprain. Didn't play. I believe, Ryan, he didn't play till like the end of the season.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Comes in. Go ahead.
He was borderline a decoy then too. He wasn't
Right.
out there to make plays.
Right. And so he brought him in and didn't really do anything in the postseason, as far as I remember. Already had issues with management. Go into the offseason, and because the GM and the Saints in general didn't want to answer his phone calls, he didn't want to answer their phone calls, but he feels that in some type of way that he feels disrespected because, of him being left in the game and him going through whatever he's going through with Saints management. Then he elects for surgery. No knowledge to Sean Payton, no knowledge to is it Mickey Loomis, I believe is the GM.
Mm-hmm.
No knowledge to ownership that he was doing surgery after a second opinion with the doctor of his choosing. Where is the wrong in this situation, and what is the outcome for this relationship between these two?
He pulled a Shaq. He did exactly what Shaq did.
He did.
You know what I mean? 100%. He basically said, okay, I'm going to show up on day one, and then we're going to look at it, and that's when we're going to realize, all right, 100% need surgery. I'm going to do it on the clock. I'm going to show up and get money on, you know what I mean? And hey, coming from the standpoint as a human being, I get it, my man. You know what I mean? You're going to take care of it on the clock of your employer because you're getting paid during this time. He's not getting paid during that time. You know what I mean? So why is he going to do that? Why is he going to give up his whole summer? But, this jumps into the Michael Thomas legacy, man. I think people need to start going back and look what happened to Le'Veon Bell 4 years ago. This guy, 5 years ago, this guy was on top of the world, the best running back in the NFL, hands down, two-way threat. He could do everything. And you know what? He got a little saucy with his team. He ended up on a really bad team, and then now his career is in shambles. Granted, he just got a ring, but no, I'm sorry, he didn't get a ring. But granted, he's going to the Super Bowl, but he's not a guy anymore. I think Michael Thomas should have learned from that. I think he made a bad call, man. You should get the surgery, get yourself better, and you're only as good as your availability out there. If you're not playing, man, you're no good at the team.
I agree, man. For me, if there is some cause of concern for this relationship, I think the outcome is going to be a trade. Now, the problem is the dead cap. The dead cap, I don't know what the dead cap is for the Saints. If they do this trade, I have to look into that. But for me personally, right, I was so high on Mike Thomas 3 years ago. I had him as the best, as the top three. I never had anyone above DeAndre Hopkins. So DeAndre Hopkins is always number one to me. But I always had Mike Thomas between 2 and 3, especially after that year when he broke the receptions record with Drew Brees. And now, looking at the tape, getting in this podcast more, understanding NFL more, man, oh man, dude, he is Mr. Slant, dude. That's all he does. And I just don't know if it's warrant for $100 million deal. We have a viewer named David Jones, who is a big-time New Orleans Saints fan, and I would love for him to write a comment to us. And here he is right there, right on cue. The wrong is on both sides, and he gone. Whether the organization goes after that money or we find some way to cut the cap, hit through a trade. I believe it's $10 million this year and 21 next. Okay, thank you. So David wants to trade or cut. I get that. I totally understand that. It sucks for this offense. It sucks for whoever the quarterback is going to be. And it sucks for my guy, Alvin Kamara, because there's no outside threat for him. They're going to stack the box. It's just good. New Orleans Saints, man. It's just, wow, dude. Wow. It's just how the mighty have fallen, It's just crazy. Very crazy.
Yeah, Drew got out at the right time.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, now you're seeing online, I even looked it up before this, all the landing spots. You know, if you're a team, you're taking a chance on a guy that just proved he's not a team guy. He's all for himself. Now you're not going to, you don't have the opportunity to negotiate a contract. He's going to show up and he's already paid. So, and the only teams that really can, like Jacksonville, can afford him. Like, I don't know, man. It's ugly. It's a bad look. It's terrible for the city of New Orleans because they've been on top of the world with Drew and Sean Payton for the longest time. And like you said, the mighty have fallen. This is a bad look, and they're going to end up in Philly land if they keep this up. It's going to be ugly.
Jesus Louise, man. Jeez Louise. With that being said, we got another comment here. We're at dumpster fire right now. I agree, David. I agree, DJ. Hopefully they figure it out, man. Hopefully they figure it out because I just like watching the Saints, and maybe that's because of Drew Brees being a former Chargers quarterback. I always rooted on for him. I was rooting so hard for him in 2009 when they beat the Colts. Hall of Fame speeches, man. That past weekend we had the Hall of Famers: Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson. I just lost. Who else got in there?
John Lynch.
Thank you.
And then a bunch of management and head coach.
Did Drew Parsons do this too?
Yeah, Parsons there.
Drew Parsons got in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and Edgerrin James, who had, I think.
Oh, Edgerrin James, that's right. Yeah.
He had the best Hall of Fame speech, I think, besides Peyton. Edgerrin James killed it. Just your reactions, Ryan, on the Hall of Fame and what you're looking forward to next year with who's going to get in.
I touch on this one. It was a great one, man. Lots of great speeches. You're a huge fan when you can see these guys become human. When they're in a helmet and they're on the field, you don't get to see this part of them. To see Charles Woodson get emotional and know anything about his background, it's a really cool. It's a treat as a fan, especially a guy that's watched him pretty much his whole career from a Heisman all the way to Super Bowls. Like, good on him. Love it. Dude, I tell you what, Peyton Manning, he's going to be the commissioner of the NFL, man. That guy spoke, and I was ready to run through a damn wall. Like, he got me so fired up. So I'm a Peyton guy deep down. Like, he's up there. I think that him and Tom Brady revitalized the NFL to what it is today.
I agree.
They've brought it back to the forefront, and the reason why we're doing this podcast right now is because of the popularity, because of guys like him. So sad to see him go. Of course, he retired a while back, but dude, that guy needs to stay in the league somehow, some way, whether it's in management, on CBS, Fox, whatever it may be, because he's one of the best guys to ever happen to the NFL.
Agree. For me, man, it's been such a crazy debate with Peyton, because when Peyton resurfaces about his connection with the NFL, I think a lot of the newbies think of Peyton Manning as this guy on ESPN Plus, a former quarterback, and that's that. They don't know the greatness of Peyton Manning. Our own very own Alex Copenhagen doesn't even know the greatness, the greatness of Peyton Manning. I mean, we're talking about. I got in a debate with a buddy of mine over in 3-Man Weave Group, Dane Johnson. Shout out to Dane Johnson. Great conversation, great argument with him about who is better, Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. And he's got Peyton at 1, and he's got Montana at 2, and Brady at 3. And, I got it flipped. I got a Brady at 1, Manning at 2, and Montana at 3. So those debates are great. It's awesome to go back and banter back and forth about who's the GOAT, who's the best. But with Peyton Manning, man, I just love Peyton Manning as a person, man. He is just I love his speech. I love how he talked about the kids, how the game needs to be how he's not leaving the game, which to me just gives me goosebumps, because we're talking about, there's no debate about it, right? He is the greatest mind ever at the quarterback position.
Hands down.
There's no argument there. I have no argument against that. Greatest mind ever, knows what you're running defensively before he even gets to the line. And I 5 MVPs. How can you argue with 5 MVPs? I believe he has I think he's 7-time All-Pro out of his. I don't know how many years. 17?
18, 17 or 18.
Yeah, 17 or 18. I mean, it was him and Brady. Like you said, him and Brady since 2000 all the way to when he retired, which was 2015. And then obviously Brady kept on playing because he didn't have the career-threatening neck injury that caused the decline for Peyton Manning. But the newbies will never understand how great we had it with Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, the epic face-offs, the epic rivalry. And then you have Ben Roethlisberger. You have Aaron Rodgers. You have Drew Brees. I mean, Donovan McNabb. We had a great era. And now it's Brady left. Once Brady gone, it's all the newbies. So, I mean, kudos to Favre. Kudos to Edgerrin James. I love that they had the dreads on his bust. That was dope. I love that, man. I love that.
And Palomalu. Palomalu had the
Palomalu.
Yeah.
Palomalu. I agree. Great speeches. I'm looking. We'll talk about next year who's going in, who's not. It's going to be interesting who's going to go in next year. Second down, buy or sell. Guys, tell us if you buying or selling on this topic. Let's get into it real quick. Buy or sell. Dolphins made the right choice in restructuring cornerback Xavier Howard, right?
Sell. I like Xavier Howard. I think he's good, but I don't know. It's very tough for me when a DB shows up and says, you're going to pay me more because I produced more. Because just on the other side saying, hey, what if you got hurt all year? You know, they're like, oh, we're going to restructure. We're going to take money away from you. It's not going to happen. I'm selling for the sole fact of that. Xavier Howard's a hell of a talent. I don't know. For me, if I'm Miami, I'm sticking it to him a little bit and be like, hey, if you're here for the team, you need to show up day one. And then we'll talk when that time comes. Because he just got paid not too long ago. It's not like he's I don't know. I'm selling. I think he's a hell of a talent. There's better guys out there, in my opinion.
You already know my answer is going to be sell. You already agreed to a contract. That's your contract. You just signed, I think, 2 years ago, right? I think it was 2019 he signed. And, you perform your contract. That's your contract. You perform it out. It wasn't like anything like Scottie Pippen, where Scottie Pippen got absolutely screwed. Okay? It wasn't anything in that nature. You signed that contract. That's a sign. You're not ridiculously getting underpaid. Play your contract out and then go get a new deal. That's just.
I will say this to give him a little credit. What's going on out there is everybody thinks that he got paid a whole bunch more money. Not really. He just got front loaded. Basically, they took the majority of his contract and put it at the front side. But that screwed them over for next year. Next year, they're going to be really hurting in 2022 when it comes to the dead cap because he took up a lot more space than what he was over the whole span of his contract. But it's to be seen. We'll see what happens.
Austin said, buy a great choice. Donald Hill. I thought that debate would never end between me and Dane about Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. He says sell. David Jones says buy. If Miami's going to compete, they need him. Just go back a little bit. Coach Davis from YouTube. Thanks. Hey, appreciate you, Coach Davis, for joining. Good stuff. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Jarvis, Favre never gets any love. Okay. All right. That must be Alex. It's gotta be. Okay, guys. Next one. Let's get into the next one real quick. Buy or sell. Darius Leonard deserves to be the highest paid inside linebacker. Ryan.
No, I sell. Your inside linebacker should not be super, super, super high on your payroll, in my opinion. I think the game has changed. I think the edge and the trenches are where it's big. You need to get a guy that can block a hole and drop back in coverage. Now, Darius Leonard's one of the best in the NFL doing it. There's no doubt about it. Should he be the highest paid? No, I don't think so. I think that if you are the Colts and you give him the most money at that position, that you're going to be struggling in other positions. So I wouldn't be doing it personally.
Buy. I'm buying on this one. I think he's the leader of that defense. Obviously, most tackles, single combined total, most tackles on the defense. He has a nose for the football for turnovers. My boy Lewis, who's a diehard Colts fan, he was on the show about a month ago, or 2 months ago in June, I believe. And he's actually sold me on him a lot more than I originally was sold on him. I think the sky's the limit for Darius Leonard. former defensive rookie of the year, possibly a defensive player of the year candidate year in, year out. You saw him fake his injury. He faked his injury until he signed that contract. All of a sudden, he was healed. Money does that for you. But yeah, man, I'm buying on Darius Leonard. Great inside linebacker, can cover, can take your tight ends and line up with them. And like I said, man, he's a grinder, dude. He's a grinder at the linebacker position. I think he's changing the inside linebacker position if it was my opinion, which it is. So,
okay.
Let's go to Donald said. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Right here. Buy solely because it was market. I agree. It was market. Buy best linebacker by far. David Jones by far. Maybe not by far, but definitely the best linebacker in my opinion. All right.
I don't think he's the best inside linebacker in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's very good. No. He's top 7, 5 to 7. I'd have to look at the numbers, but definitely top 5 to 7. He could probably even creep into 4-3, but not the best in the NFL, in my opinion.
I agree. Let's get into our next subject here. Buy or sell. Jalen Hurts will fix his inconsistency issues before week 1, which is opening day. So the rumor out there right now and what we've been hearing is that Jalen's been struggling a lot in the training camp. Very, very, very inconsistent is what we are hearing outside of the training camp. Are we buying or selling this rumor right now? Is it a rumor or are we buying this? Is he going to fix it or selling?
I'm selling. He's not fixing it. And you're right. It is a rumor. The reality is that Philly has a spotlight on him. So these beat reporters are getting their money's worth. They're at every single practice. They're watching every single thing that happens there. Jalen's a hell of an athlete. He's going to be a decent to good quarterback, but his legs and his arm strength are his biggest abilities. When he needs to pull a Josh Allen and really fix down on getting more consistent with his accuracy and hitting guys in stride, because he didn't have the greatest talent last year, so that's not what to blame. Now they got some talent over there. You better start putting up some numbers. I think he sells. I don't think he's that great. I don't think that he'll fix it one bit.
Oh man, sell. Okay, I agree, Donald. I am selling too. I'm not a huge Jalen Hurts guy. I don't see this working. If the rumors, which was announced last week, I know you guys talked about a little bit about Deshaun Watson heading over to Philly. If the rumors are true and that is something, or maybe it's Houston trying to buy back in and trying to get Deshaun reeling back in because of all the controversy surrounding him with the massage therapist and all that. Maybe it's just a weird situation, Ryan. It's a weird situation. I mean, we're talking about Deshaun freaking Watson, who's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. And if he goes to Philly, I think everything elevates in that offense. I think you and I both agree with that. I don't care if it's 100%. A bad O-line or not. He's played with bad O-lines in Houston. What's the difference in Philly? There's no difference at all. He just has better receivers and a better running game around him, and arguably probably a better coaching staff, which we'll see with Sirianni heading into his first year as the Philly head coach with his coaching staff. But I mean, if that's there, why? I want to jump in on this. Why hasn't Philly made the move?
Hey, where there's smoke, there tends to be a fire. So there's obviously some conversation. If I'm a GM at any level and I need a quarterback and Deshaun Watson's out there, I'm absolutely getting him. But now let's factor in what's going on with him. If you were to purchase, it's not like you can make an agreement. Okay, we're going to buy him. But then if he ends up getting screwed over with this whole case and it comes out being true and he can't play football for the rest of his life, there's still guaranteed money on that contract. Now the new team owns. Right. There's that's too much for me. Nobody's going to touch him. He's going to stay there. I don't know. Philly's not going to go after him, I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. And how do you feel about the if the Jalen Hurts project doesn't work, where does Philly go? Are we blaming O-line? Are we blaming the offense? Was Devontae Smith not the right pick? What do you do if you're Philly and Jalen Hurts does not work?
You got to move on, just like you did with Carson. You gave him that big contract and you got him out of there. Jalen's not getting paid Carson Wentz money. But and maybe you're fortunate there. Maybe you're fortunate
Right.
that you're on a rookie contract and you just don't re-sign him. You maybe pick up his 5th year when the time comes, because they're not going to be good for a long time, in my opinion. I don't think they have it. I think that they got a lot of talent on that team. I think like Miles Sanders, he's a good running back, but the reality is, due to the fact that what he's surrounded with that line, that quarterback, he's not going to be successful. And that just speaks volumes for everybody else that's on that offensive line. So
I agree. Gotta wait for that legal situation to play out. Okay.
Yeah.
That legal situation is hard to predict. I agree. Daniel is a Philadelphia Eagle fan, and he is part of the Sports Box Network. Cage My IQ. Check out his show. It's great. It's a great show. I love it. Let's get into our final one. Then, guys, we do our favorite part, the top 30 receivers. I can't wait to reveal it. Ryan has no idea who's on it, so it's going to be fun. Buy or sell, Deshaun Watson will finish the 2021 season as a Houston Texan, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm buying that 100%. He's going to stay there unless, we can't forget that before this all went public, Deshaun was requesting a trade. So he wants out of Texas too. So that is adding a little bit of fuel to the idea that he could be going somewhere else to some landing spots out there. But the reality is that is a hot poker and nobody's trying to touch that, man, because you could end up with a very expensive quarterback that literally can't play football. He might be in jail, let alone, you know what I mean? So I think he stays there. It's going to take a long time for the proceedings to happen on this kind of case.
He was a second-round pick. There's no fifth-year option for Hurts.
Oh, that's true.
Buy. No choice. Buy. Okay. Sell, David. David, I would love to hear why you're selling that.
That's interesting.
Why you're selling on this buy or sell topic. For me, I'm buying. I just think the situation won't figure itself out in time. And then we also got to take into fact, Ryan, and our audience here of 6 viewers, thank you guys so much for tuning in on YouTube and Twitter. We have to take it into fact. Let's say he breaks out of this, right? Settles with all the therapists that he needs to settle with, that he had issues with, and it's all done and over with. We still have one more person standing in his way. That's the NFL.
Absolutely.
The NFL will definitely act. And they definitely will hand out a punishment for him. It doesn't matter if he has a clean record or not. We saw it with Zeke. We saw it with other players. He will serve a suspension. How long? We don't know. I would guess 4 to 6 games, Ryan. I mean, it's not like he has video of Kareem Hunt where he kicked a girl, even if it wasn't that hard of a kick or not. He was gone for all the season.
Yep.
So, I mean, we really have to – I really would say 4 to 6 games, just because of the amount of lawsuits that went against him. What would be your guess?
Yeah, 100%. I'd say 4 to 6, easy. You know, he's not Robert Kraft where he owns a team out there and has a lot more pull. Like, you know, and there's no Ray Rice video either, so it's not like he's going to be completely 86. But the reality is that the NFL takes a hard approach to when it comes to any kind of domestic violence, sexual harassment, anything along those lines. And it's good. The NFL holds their men up to a higher standard, as they should, in my opinion. I think that due to that, these guys need to act better, and 4 to 6 will probably be the number, in my opinion, as well.
I agree. If he could play football, Carolina will snatch him up. Okay, so you're not a believer of Sam Darnold. All right, boys, we're getting into it. Third down, top 30 receivers. All right, so check it out, guys. This is what I did. I did this a couple weeks ago. We were supposed to do it last week, but I got caught up with work, so I apologize about that. But we are here. We are doing a breakdown of 30 receivers. Next week is going to be running backs, and then the week after that, we're doing a top. I believe I think I told Ryan top 30, but I might push it to 40 because I got a lot of people. So we're going to do top 30 receivers. I asked 30 different people. I got 30 different people giving me lists of their top 30, and we are going to break it down, and I'm really excited to see this, so let's get into it. I got a couple of surprises on here that I didn't think were going to join this list, but they did. But, hey, let's get into it. At number 30, Michael Gallup, Dallas Cowboys wide receiver. This one is a little shocking. It was between him And another receiver that it turned out Austin turned his list in like a half an hour ago, and it took the edge. It was between him and Juju. So Juju did not make the list, which I was a little shocked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Donald Hill is happy because he's a Cowboy fan. Let's go. Number 29, Kenny Golladay. A little low for me, Ryan. I thought he might be a little bit higher in the lower 20s. But maybe that hamstring injury kind of the people in the back that wanted to vote him late. New York Giants, new system, Daniel Jones. I can see why he's 29.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the body that he has, the athleticism is fantastic. I think that he could easily be a top 15 guy, but he's also playing with Daniel Jones, and that's going to hurt him a lot. Real quick, to back up to Michael Gallup, I got terrible call. Anybody that put Michael Gallup in their top 30, like think about it like this. You're picking, there's 32 teams in the NFL. So these are all the number one guys. These are your top 30. Michael Gallup is on a team where he's going to be the third quarterback in an offense that didn't produce that well.
Third receiver.
Third receiver, thank you.
Yeah,
third receiver there. There's no chance he should have touched this list, in my opinion. But I digress.
I feel you. Number 28, Courtland Sutton, Denver Broncos. Coming off a torn ACL. Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater. I don't know if he's going to get that production, but as a fantasy-wise, I love Courtland Sutton's ADP. It's going to be great where if you could steal him in the 7th or 8th, maybe 6th round, he has the potential to be productive. He looks good in training camp so far from what I'm reading. Him and Drew Lock have that chemistry going. I think Drew Lock will come out as the number 1 starter out of this training camp, right? But Courtland Sutton at number 28.
Yeah, Sutton's low for me. I think that this guy also had 1,100 yards with Drew Lock. So he's already played with a bad quarterback. That was his 2nd year in the league. Now we're running into his 4th year in the league. He should be a little higher, a little more respect in that man's name.
Okay. I like this one. Next one. Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins. I think this is a good spot for him. He showed up last year, had a breakout year. Do we not? I think he's number 1 for Cincy. I know Jamar Chase is there, but I'm a huge fan of T. Higgins. I like T. Higgins a lot. I think this is a good spot for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree. I think that T. Higgins is the number 1, and I think he's going to finish the season as number 1. Jamar Chase, it's already coming out of camp. He's having a hard time breaking away and getting open. And if you're a wide receiver in the NFL, that's the one thing you need to do is get open and make catches. T. Higgins proved he can do that. I think he remains the number 1. I got a good spot for him.
Number 26, Chase Claypool, wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's hard to determine what these Pittsburgh Steelers offense, like wide receiver depth chart. Not a lot of targets for Chase. I think people are buying the hype because he had that 3-touchdown game last year, but he really digressed in the second half of last year. I don't know how he's 26. I would have been more comfortable with him at 30 over Michael Gallup, but I mean, he's 26, man. I disagree with this one a little bit.
Yeah, good player. He fell just like the rest of that offense did. Everybody fell in that offense, so it's hard to see. We'll see. He's a hell of an athlete, though. He's good. He top 15 potential. He could be up there.
I agree. Coming in number 25, Robbie Anderson, wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers. He got his old buddy back from the New York Jets and Sam Darnold. They're going to be throwing again this year. Got a good tandem. They did in New York. Hopefully this works out. I think Robbie Anderson is one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL. So I'm happy that he landed in the top 30.
Yeah, man, this is a guy that's never played with a great quarterback, and he's put up numbers, man. He's a volume guy. He catches in, between the numbers, and he's done very, very well. I think this is a pretty good spot for him, just due to what kind of volume he gets. It's not a lot of yak. He doesn't run with the ball a whole lot, but he makes a lot of plays. I like Robbie Anderson.
Back-to-back Carolina receivers. DJ Moore comes in at number 24. So for me, guys, this is a reality list. This isn't fantasy, but I'm trying to go back and forth because I got some viewers here that are fantasy viewers. DJ Moore, for me, I think is the most overrated receiver in fantasy football for 2021. where his ADP is. His ADP is 2-3, possibly late 4. I'm not liking DJ Moore at all for fantasy football. And for reality, I think Carolina, this offense is always going to be run by one person only. That's CMC. So whatever CMC goes is where this offense goes. Sam Darnold is a great pickup. I think Sam Darnold is a lot better than Teddy Bridgewater. But for me personally, I had DJ Moore, I think, at 29. So I'm a little surprised he's at 24 for me personally.
Yeah, DJ Moore's on my draft bust list. He only had 700 yards without CMC there, and a weak quarterback. when it comes this year, when they have a better quarterback, Robbie Anderson's going to get more looks. CMC's back. It's going to take away from his market share. DJ Moore, he did well when there was nobody there. Now that there's some talent there, I think that he's going to struggle a lot. I got nothing on that guy.
Okay. Number 23, we got Deontay Johnson.
Oh my God.
Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver, number 23. And you know what's funny, man? When I was breaking down these lists and averaging them out, man, I thought he was going to be higher because I had a couple of guys had him in the top 15. So I was a little shocked by this, but a lot of drops last year, but he had a lot of targets, over 140 targets last season. So I understand why people are picking him where he's picking him in fantasy wise. He's going to get a lot of targets. Big Ben is still at quarterback. So that's his go-to guy. But another guy that I did not have high. I had him at, I think I had him at 29, 28, 29.
Everything this guy does as a football player is fantastic, but he's got to catch the damn ball. He's got to catch the damn ball. Simple as that.
Clifford Franklin. I love you, Donald. I love you, D.
Of the night.
Pot.
Oh, well done.
Pot. I agree, guys. I agree. Dave Viegel. All East Coast teams. What is this, ESPN? No, man, I averaged all the guys. It's half East and half West, actually, to be honest with you.
We're early in the list. A lot of West Coast guys coming in later. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we're still early. Let's get into it. Number 22, Jarvis Landry, Cleveland Browns wide receiver. I actually like this pick. I like this pick a lot. I like Jarvis. I had Jarvis at 18. I'm a huge Jarvis Landry guy. I think he gets overlooked because this Cleveland offense is always go by Nick Chubb. But this is reality. This is about what skills you possess as a wide receiver. And I think Jarvis Landry doesn't get enough respect because he's in this offense and he gets forgotten.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even have Jarvis Landry on my list for a couple reasons. One, he's a hell of a football player. He's a great athlete. Anybody that comes out of LSU, I fully respect. The reality is that he is lower on this totem pole. That is a run first team, man. It's going to go through Nick Chubb, and that's about it for me.
I agree. This one was shocking. I did not have him on my list because I know he's going to be gone for 12 weeks.
Yeah.
So I didn't put him on my list, but out of people think that he still, can't guard Mike and all that stuff. Well, I understand why people have him on their list. Michael Thomas comes in at number 21 for the New Orleans Saints. We're not going to see him probably till week 13, week 14 of this season. So I kept him off, but I understand why people have him on. Like I said, Ryan, do you have? I mean, you didn't. I don't think you had him on the list too either.
No, it's hard to put a guy on the list rating like, oh, we don't know, he's not playing. Like I can't rate a guy that's not going to be playing because we're not going to see the end of it. So yeah, we already talked about him. I'm done on that guy for a while.
Yep. Okay, top 20 guys. Robert Woods, wide receiver for the freaking Rams. I think Robert Woods is probably going to be the biggest steal for fantasy football this year if you get him at such a great ADP. I think Matthew Stafford loves his slots, and I think him and Woods already have a connection going through training camp between him and D-Jax. That's all I've been hearing out of the offense for the Rams is those two guys. So I like Robert Woods a lot this year for 2021, Ryan.
You know what? Fantasy owners, listen up. Robert Woods has been one of the most underrated football players in the NFL in the past 4 years. This guy gets 1,000 yards just about every year. Not a lot of touchdowns, there's no doubt about it. But where his ADP is, draft this guy at that. You know what I mean? If you're getting him in 4th, 5th round, that is money in the bank every time. So I got respect for him there. This is a great landing spot for him.
Agree. Coming in at number 19, Julio Jones, which I'm really shocked. I thought Julio would be a top 12, top 15 receiver. A lot of people had him low. I think that maybe has to do with the Titans offense, which is ran through by Derrick Henry. They also have a guy named A.J. Brown who is on the list, later on the list. And I think a lot of it has to do, Ryan, with just the offense. And maybe his injuries played a part in the voting. I had Julio at 12, but, I still respect his talent. He's a freak of nature. But I understand why people don't want to get him because he can't play a full season.
Yeah, that goes into the factor when we're talking about all these guys. You put them on a ranking system. You respect how good they are as a player, but when they're not available to play, those numbers go down. So you got to play that factor with them. I have Julio a little higher than this, but you hope a guy that is this special in the league can stay healthy because I love watching him play. It's going to be interesting in Tennessee. There's no doubt about it.
I agree. My son's having a connection. Sorry, guys. Number 18, Adam Thielen, receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. So I'm a little shocked by this. I thought Adam would be a little bit higher. I had him at 15-14, but I get it, dude. It's a lot of talent in the receiver position. When we go down from 18, it's hard. So I understand it. I get it. He's at 18.
Yeah, he's good. This is a guy that just won't go away, man. Every year I think about him, it's like, all right, he's getting long in the tooth. He's going to start to digress, and then he, makes me look stupid with 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Yep.
So, he keeps hanging around. He's a good ball player. He's killing it. Good on him.
I agree. We got a couple comments here. Get the F out of here. Yeah, I agree. I don't know why a lot of people bought at him. The offense struggle with Gurley went down a couple years ago. Agree. Darrell Henderson would just be fine. Hey, that's another topic for another day. Coming in number 17. This one hurt me a little bit because I thought he might be higher. Tyler Lockett, wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
I thought I had him at 15. I'm a little shocked by this, Ryan. Are you okay with 17 for Tyler?
I think everybody's just so buying into the athleticism of DK Metcalf, and as they should. He's going to be higher in this list. He's a higher number one. But these guys are consecutive 1,000 yards every single season. He's better than 17. He's more of like a 15 could be a 12, in my opinion. Tyler Lockett's a hell on a team that loves to throw the ball. When they let Russ cook, this guy's going to get some yards every single time.
I agree. Coming in number 16. Can you guess who it is? He's coming back from a torn ACL.
The old Cleveland Brown great.
OBJ coming at number 16.
Interesting.
Ooh. Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Got Odell Beckham Jr. coming back from a torn ACL, like I said. So we got 2 Cleveland Brown wide receivers and in the top 30, which I understand. I get that. OBJ, the old, is amazing. Hall of Fame talent. OBJ of late, not good. Not good in this offense. And it doesn't help when you have Baker Mayfield always rolling out to the right and trying to throw to a tight end. It just doesn't work for OBJ and Cleveland Browns offense. I get the talent. I just don't get the production. I don't see it happening for OBJ.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, he had 1,000 yards in his first season with Baker Mayfield, but only 4 touchdowns. They were successful without him last year. I don't see them really drawing up a whole lot of schemes to where they're going to work to give him the ball.
Right.
That team runs the ball through, Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, who's one of the best running backs in the NFL. So, hell of a player. The production won't be there. He's not top 16 in my opinion.
I agree. Donald Hill, if you are still watching, guess which Cowboy's next?
Better not be CeeDee Lamb.
We got a Cowboy coming up here right now. I want to see if he's going to write a comment or not. But we'll go with it anyways. Coming in number 15, your top 15 for 2021. Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper at number 15. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this because Amari still has a lot of talent. I still think he's the number one for Dallas going into the season. There's a guy out there that's making a lot of noise. And if you saw Hard Knocks last night, he made that insane catch in the corner of the end zone, and that's CeeDee Lamb. And this is CeeDee Lamb team now, I think, for offensively for receivers. Dak and him have an instant connection already. So I'm okay with this at 15.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as long as he's below CD around this realm, I'm cool with it.
You're okay. You're cool with that? Okay.
Yeah.
I had to fix something up real quick. Sorry about that, guys. Coming in at number 14 is the one and only Scary Terry McLaurin at number 14. This is okay. I'm okay with this. I think from 14 to 10, I'm okay with. There's a little argument between 10 and 11 when we'll get there. But Terry McLaurin, man, I think I spelled his name wrong. I'm sorry. I apologize. Terry McLaurin with Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? I think it's going to be a great tandem. I think people are overlooking Ryan Fitzpatrick because it's Fitz magic. He's so inconsistent. But look what Terry has done with the quarterbacks that he has had. I think there could be an argument he could be top 10. There could be an argument. But I'm okay with him at 14.
100%. Terry McLaurin is a guy that just went under the radar because he wasn't drafted as high as the other guys that, were Yeah, I got Terry's better than Amari 100%.
I do too. Sorry, Donald, I do too.
McLaurin's going to make some noise. He's got a better quarterback.
Dave.
He's got a gunslinger out there. That's what Fitzpatrick is, man. He's not just a game manager. He doesn't play like Alex Smith. He wants to throw the ball. He wants to throw the ball deep. Terry could he's got to get the touchdowns up. That's the one thing, last year only 4. 1,100 yards last year. That's very respectable with the team that was in shambles when it came to the quarterback position. So he's going to do well. I'm okay with him here. This is a good spot for him. Good landing spot.
Agree. Coming in at number 13, we have finally a defending Tampa Bay Bucks receiver. Who do you think it is, Ryan?
It's got to be Godwin because I got Mike Evans higher. There you go.
Chris Godwin, number 13, coming in for the 2021 top 30 receivers. I love Godwin. If it wasn't for him getting hurt with his finger, and if it wasn't for the inconsistencies with Tom Brady's injury and COVID offseason, I think this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense would have actually killed it more last year. That's why this year I understand where they fell for him and Evans, which we will reach Evans a little bit later in the list. I love this tandem. We're not even talking about Antonio Brown, who could be a sneaky top 30 receiver this year.
Yeah.
But he didn't make the cut. But he had some votes in some lists. He was in mine. Chris Godwin comes in at number 13, and I'm okay with this.
Yeah, Godwin's good. I mean, he had 7 touchdowns last year in a year that was a little slower for him. Didn't break 1,000 yards, but he's a Cooper Kupp essentially that can get more yards. Big red zone threat. Godwin's good. Mike Evans I have higher, so I'm happy to hear this here or see this here. But yeah, I think it's a good spot for Godwin as well.
Agree. Some people are. I'm not understanding the Chris Godwin hype, man. I mean, I get it. He's good, dude. He's a good receiver. Can he put a season together with touchdowns and yards and catches? That's what people want to see. It's kind of like with Mike Evans. Mike Evans gets the yards, he gets the touchdowns, but he doesn't get the catches because he's not a possession receiver. So he's a red zone threat that can play the long ball. So I mean, it's just that's why we have a top 5.
We can't forget that he only played 12 games last year. The reality is he was on pace for 1,000 yards, and he had 7 touchdowns. Add 2 or 3 there, you have 1,100 yard guy and 10 touchdowns. That's top 12 money every single time.
Agree.
So,
and for number 12, Justin Jefferson, Minnesota Vikings wide receiver. Ryan, are you okay with him at 12?
I'm trying to look at my list. I had him higher. I had him at 6. I think he proved what he could do with a Kirk Cousins kind of quarterback and Adam Thielen. You know what I mean? So now second year in the same regime, this guy's he's gonna turn some heads. I got him much higher than this, at least double the spots. I think he's better than 12.
Okay. Number 11, CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb comes in at number 11. I thought. Okay, so for me with Lamb, this one's interesting, man. This Dallas offense, man. Fantasy owners, you got to get a piece of it. Got to get it right at the right time. I'm talking about Lamb. If you can get Gallup at the 13th or 14th round, go for it. If you get him the 12th round, go for it. You got to get some type of offense get a piece of this offense because this offense is going to be fireworks this year. That's my, it's my opinion, obviously, but the stats is in the pudding. And I'm telling you right now, man, CeeDee Lamb is killing it right now. He is killing it in training camp. I expect big things out of him this year. His ADP is 2-3. So I'm okay with where people are drafting him, right? But I had him at top 10. I really did. I had him in top 10. I know he didn't do that much last year, but he showed a lot for backup quarterbacks, and he still did a lot. So I like him with Dak. If Dak is there for the whole season, I think he will finish in the top 10. But at number 11, I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, everybody gets based a little different. CeeDee Lamb is strictly on how good of a player he is, and we saw it last year, man. This could easily be a Roddy White, Julio Jones kind of situation where Amari's going to be on his way out and CD is going to be the guy. And I could definitely see that happening. He's got a little OBJ in him with the catches and the flair and how good of a player he is. So I'm really excited to see this season. 11, it's tough because I could see him lower. I could see him higher. He's a tough one to judge, but I think he's going to be good.
Ladies and gentlemen, we were in our top 10. Here we go. Coming in number 10, Tampa Bay. Mike Evans comes in at number 10. I expected this. I expected him to be in 10. I thought he might have been 13 to 15. But people gave him a lot more respect, which I totally understand and I totally get. I think the tandem between him and Tom Brady is just going to be even better in 2021 as it was in 2020. They're both healthy. They both have more chemistry. They both have more of an understanding. They both have those looks, and that's what a quarterback and a number one receiver need to have. And I think Mike Evans is going to be his go-to guy in a lot of situations, especially red zone. Ryan, number one red zone receiver last year was Mike Evans, I believe. So I definitely have Mike Evans in my top 10. So I like the pick.
Yeah, another year with Tom Brady, who's obviously the greatest quarterback of all time. They were meshing at the end of last year, man. They had some crazy numbers out there. Top 10, I'm 100% okay with. It's a good landing spot for him. Mike Evans, that's going to be an exciting year. There's no doubt about it.
Agree. Coming in at number 9, he's on his own this year. He has no Julio. Calvin Ridley.
Oh, yeah.
Calvin Ridley comes in at number 9. This young man, I am so on the fence, and I don't know why. I don't know why I'm on the fence with him for fantasy-wise for his ADP.
Really?
I don't, right? I don't know. Like, I feel like Julio took a lot away from it to help him. And I know that he killed it when Julio was out, but I really think this offense is going to go to one of my sleepers, which is Mike Davis. I think Mike Davis might take a lot more usage and control of this Atlanta offense and get this team back on to the ground game more than what they were last year because passing didn't work. But that's just me being a coach. I love Calvin Ridley. I had Calvin Ridley at number 11 in my list, so I'm okay with 9.
Yeah, I mean, he produced really well without Julio being there all the time. And then when Julio was there years before, Calvin Ridley was still a solid number 2 wide receiver. And you don't want to bat an eye at Russell Gage. Russell Gage is going to be really good out there. Fantasy guys, if he's out there in the late 11, 12s, that's going to be a solid pickup for a guy that could easily get 800 yards and probably 9 to 10 touchdowns. So
Good.
I like the
Okay.
spot for him. I think it's a good spot.
I agree. Coming in number 8, the final of the Seattle Seahawks tandem, DK Metcalf. I like DK a lot, man. I was huge on him a couple years ago when he came out of the draft, when people were just not drafting him. I didn't understand why people kept on saying he only can run the 9 route. I said, dude, train him. Train him. That's what you do with a specimen of his ability. He's huge. He's freaking big. Runs a 4.3, 4.2, and has good hands. Why not draft him? And Seattle was rewarded by drafting him. And now he's had a hell of a 2020 season. Kind of died off a little bit in the second half, but I expect things to come pick back up with him and Lockett at that tandem for Seattle. I love DK's spot right here. He's not top 5. He's top 10.
Yeah, no, it's a good spot for him. If he didn't have Russell Wilson, I wouldn't have him as high, because if you look at DK's numbers, a lot of them come on the broken plays due to the athleticism. He's still not a great route runner. You know, he doesn't touch Diggs. He doesn't touch Keenan Allen when it comes to actually running routes. But when you have a super freak athlete like this guy is, he's a specimen, like you said. He's special. So he's still going to put up numbers for a team that doesn't have a great defense, that likes to air it out. Yeah, I think it's a good spot for DK.
Agree. David Jones just called our next guy, A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown comes in the top 7. I like A.J. a lot, man. I think A.J., another guy that's the sky's the limit for him and what he's able to do. He's very technical in his route running. He's got to work on his separation a little bit. I remember people were jogging him a little bit last year because of it and his hands. But, I mean, his second half, he was on fire. He was on fire for the Tennessee Titans in fantasy and for reality. Great receiver, good built, good route runner. Tennessee Titans. I really like this offense a lot going into 2021. Right, I like AJ Brown and Julio Jones together.
Yeah, I mean, all these guys can arguably be the best wide receiver in the NFL at the end of the season when we get to this part of the list. 2 years in a row, 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. That's going to his 3rd year now. He's got another. I think he's going to benefit from Julio being on the opposite end of the ball, which is going to grab some traction. And he might even be bigger than 7. So it's a good spot for him. I had him about the same.
Agree. Coming in number 6, the guy who does it all on his own with horrendous quarterback play. We're talking about A-Rob 12. Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson. A-Rob. I am an Allen Robinson guy. I love Allen Robinson a lot. Loved him with the Jags. Loved him even more with Chicago because he gets all the targets, baby. I love him as a fantasy wide receiver because there's no one else to throw to in Chicago.
That's true.
So I love him, man. I love him. Love the spot. I love the guy that's in front of him even more. But they're very similar in their play. I'll talk about another guy and the reason why I gave him the edge. But for Allen Robinson, he is probably the most underrated number 1 receiver across the NFL.
Year in and year out, man, this guy just continues to produce with bad quarterbacks all the time. Like made Trubisky look good in a lot of situations.
Oh God!
I genuinely think Justin Fields is going to win this job, and early and often these guys are going to connect. So Allen Robinson's poised for a big year. Draft him.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't care where his ADP is. Draft him.
Get him.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. If I was allowed to have music, I would be doing a drum roll for top 5. Give us your thoughts on who you think is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, because we're about to do number 5. And unfortunately, I had him at number 3. Ryan, I think, had him at 6 or 5.
Yeah, about there.
It's our guy, Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen, baby.
Keenan Allen. I don't think God. Between him and Diggs, I had the hardest time. But I love Keenan Allen so much, Ryan. I know you do. 2 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, he's played more than 12 games. So the enigma of him being injury prone is thrown to the trash.
Gone.
People need to let that go.
Yep.
We're talking about, and I obviously, I'm going to be biased because I'm a Charger fan, but I think he's the greatest route runner in the game today. I don't think there's not a better route runner than Keenan Allen. I think he's second or third in hands, behind another guy, and his ability to be a star and be a go-to player for first down. I think he was number one in third down conversions. I might be wrong, but I mean, this Keenan Allen is so unappreciated across the NFL because we're such a small market team. And in LA, go figure, a small market team that no one knows about Keenan Allen that well. He is definitely worthy of a top 5 position, and I'm okay with him at 5.
Yeah, I think what it really comes down to is consistency. And from a guy that was injury prone early on in his career in college, he's, like you said, he's trumped that. Those days are really gone. Barkley 100% agrees that how well he's done over these past years. And he is, you know why? Because he's not the fastest guy in the league. And actually, he's not even the top 15 in speed. He's a slow wide receiver. When it comes down to it, his hands and the route running, he is so clean. He is so crisp. Top 5, I had him a little lower, reluctantly, probably because I don't want to be a homer, but I got a good call here on Keenan. Yeah,
and he is what you will look at, Ryan. He is someone that you look at and just the 40-yard dash. Like it's there for hype and pleasure. John Ross, and look at him now. Exactly. He got drafted because of his 40 time. Tyreek Hill is an enigma.
Yeah,
freaking Keenan Allen is the opposite. You don't need to run a 4.3, 4.4 to be a receiver. You just got to work on your tech, work on your skill, and work on your separation. That's all he does.
Remember that when we're thinking about Devontae Smith later on.
That's true. Coming in number 4, Stefon Diggs. Diggs and the next guy was tied till Austin brought his list in a half an hour early, and it changed the dynamics of the top 4. Stefon Diggs, Buffalo Bills. We saw what he did last year. We saw what he's done with Minnesota, but I think last year was his best year. And we saw what he could do without an Adam Thielen lining opposite of him. We saw what he could do with Josh Allen, and he made Josh Allen a quarterback. This is one of the situations where I think the receiver made the quarterback what he is today. I think Diggs is the reason why Josh Allen got that 6-year deal, because of being able to throw the deep ball, to be more consistent. It was because of having Diggs' presence there at number 1, at the number 1 receiver position, helped this offense and helped Buffalo a lot better. Stefon Diggs is a beast like no other. I want to see a little bit more from him in the postseason, Ryan. I felt like naturally. he could have gave us a lot more against Kansas City. But that's just me nitpicking his game a little bit. I still think Stefon Diggs is deserving of a top 5 spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I have him switched with the guy that we're going to announce next, which I assume is going to be DeAndre Hopkins. I think just on pure volume, man. Diggs, he's a number 1 receiver. Everybody knew he was the number 1, and he's still got over 120 receptions, 150 targets. These are insane numbers for a guy that puts up, 1,400 yards and I think 8 touchdowns or something like that. Diggs proved himself. I'm very happy he got away from Minnesota because he didn't get his full potential there. And it's really showing out right now. Minnesota's regretting that decision. I guarantee it.
Number 3, top 3. I had him as my number 1 receiver, and he did not make it to the top 2. But I think people are looking at last year and seeing maybe he's slowing down a little bit. I call BS. I think it's the inconsistent play at quarterback, which is Kyler Murray. DeAndre Hopkins comes in at number 3. Ryan called it. D-Hop, I still think, is the best receiver in the NFL. He has the size, the length, the speed, the route running ability, the hands. I mean, I believe we're only 2 years removed where he caught all of his targets. I mean, he didn't miss one ball. Kyler Murray just needs to be more on par with his number one receiver. Hopefully they fix that heading into 2021. But DeAndre Hopkins comes in at number 3 for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to Hopkins, I fully agree with you. He might be, when it comes to the accolades of being a receiver, the best receiver, but due to quarterback play with Kyler, if he was with, Josh over in Buffalo, he'd be my number one, no doubt about it, even over Devontae or Tyreek. But I bring it back to quarterback play. But this is a good spot for him. Top 3 is nothing to not bad at.
Minnesota's not regretting that decision. They got Jefferson on a rookie deal. You're right. We still got to see what Jefferson does this year, and then we can start saying that was the right decision.
Yeah,
I gotta see consistency.
And him over Thielen. I mean, Thielen, obviously it comes down to contractual agreement when you come into paying a guy and all that kind of stuff. It's just tough to see a guy go away and become one of the best receivers in the NFL, long and away, where he was more of a top 7 before and then became easily 2-3. So that's why I say it. But I do contractually, I totally understand what Dave's saying.
Yeah. All right. Coming to the top 2. Can you see the banners?
I'm not looking at them. I'm just looking at the comments.
So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, it's between 2 receivers, obviously. Tyreek Hill and Davante Adams. Who do you think it is, Ryan? Number 2.
Who I think it should be? I think it should be Davante 2, Tyreek 1. That's what I think. Show it to me.
Tyreek Hill comes in at number 2 for the Kansas City Chiefs. So look, listen, and learn. I had Tyreek Hill at number 2, here, and I had D-Hop at 1, and I had Davante Adams at 3. Davante Adams, Ryan, and I think all of us can agree to this, most of us that are realists. If Aaron Rodgers retired, Davante Adams would not be a top 5 receiver.
No, absolutely not.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say. I still think Davante Adams is the top 10. I just don't want to put him in the top 5. I probably would switch Allen Robinson out and put him in the top 5 and probably put Davante at 6. But we're talking about Tyreek Hill. With Tyreek, man, he's a beast. Don't get me wrong. He's in the greatest offense that you could probably put him in. Go run 9 routes and go do bubble screens. That's Andy Reid. That's Andy Reid's bread and butter. Absolutely. And he fits that to a T. He also signed on a cheap-ass contract because of outside influences, and that contract is coming up this year, by the way. Knock, knock.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be really interesting what they're going to do in the offseason, because that was a topic of discussion for these Chiefs, because, they're already cutting down that cap. So it's going to be interesting. But let's talk about Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is a beast. Probably the fastest receiver in the NFL. I think he is. Great, has okay hands. He has a couple of drops here and there. Route running ability, top notch. He's a great route runner. Not great. I mean, not tier 1. I would say tier 2. He still has issues on route running. I from what I read on a couple of the route trees, but overall, I'm okay with him at number 2, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's what I brought up with DK Metcalf. A lot of his yards are going to come off those broken plays where Patrick Mahomes can roll out and throw one-footed diving kind of throws and make some plays. But the reality is Davante hit what he's special at. Nobody can touch. His speed is just ridiculous, and he can just flat out run a go and beat anybody on the field. And Reid is smart about catering his offense to his good players, and he loves to get the guy the ball. So, what's up, bud?
Yeah. Say hi. Hi. You want to go down? All right. Daddy's going to finish the show. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I definitely agree with you. 1,000% with you. Davante Adams is number 1. Listen, I'm not dissing Davante Adams. Let me fix what I have to say. He has the size. He has the speed. He has the hands. And we have seen him kill it with other quarterbacks. I just think Aaron Rodgers just makes him a lot better. Not a lot, no, a little better. Makes him a little better. He's great. I think he goes to elite because of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is top 3. He's probably number 1 right now in the NFL. Maybe him and Mahomes. We don't know. But I think Devontae Adams is a beast, and he's definitely deserving of being in the top 10. He's definitely deserving of being top 5 with Aaron Rodgers playing. It's just hard. It's just so hard to see what he can do a full season without him. And that's where it kind of questions a little bit with him.
Yeah, no, I fully agree there. And I mean, David Jones just brought it best up in the comments saying Mahomes makes Hill better. There's no doubt about it. And that becomes a big factor when it comes to this. Every wide receiver is better when they have a better quarterback. That's easy to say. I just think, this guy got 150 targets last year from the best quarterback in the NFL right now. And so good on him. He did what he did with it. He had an MVP quarterback, which is, in my opinion, the best quarterback, like I said, in the NFL. So we'll see. I'd be curious to see what he'd do somewhere else. But a number one nod, I'm okay with that. I'm not against it.
Good deal. Guys, that's our top 30 wide receivers. We made it through.
Sir.
Next week. Final drive, real quick. Final drive here, 4th down. Next week, I'm just gonna give our viewers a little bit of a little peek hole of what we're doing next week. We are doing the top 30 running backs heading into the 2021 season next week. Hopefully, we'll get our guys back. Brandon, Alex, we'll have a full crew here for the second season of Game Winning Drive. We are getting so close to NFL opening day. I can't wait, Ryan. We are literally less than a month away.
Pumped, man. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a good, fun year to watch. Yep. No doubt about it.
Ryan, final take.
Final take. We had a lot of interaction tonight. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. Anytime there's a list, so everybody can get a little argument in, and that tends to happen. But love that everybody jumped on, and we got some feedback, and keep it coming. We're ready for it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Guys, September, mark this down. David Jones, mark this down. Twitter, guys, we got about 15, 20 viewers on Twitter. YouTube, we got about 20, 25, which I'm really shocked at right now. September 8th, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Western Pacific time, 9:30 Eastern is our award prediction show. It's our favorite show of the year. We do our predictions for divisions. We do our predictions of playoffs. We do our predictions of Super Bowl, and we do our predictions of the awards. Who's going to get what? I love it because I mark everything down, and then I laugh at everybody's face at the end of the season because I'm going to be right and everybody's going to be wrong. That's how it usually happens. Can't wait for that show. So make sure you guys get to that show. Please come join us next week. We're going to talk about what's around the NFL. We're also going to talk about the top 30 running backs list that we're going to get from the same 30 people, and we are gonna have fun. I can't wait. Hopefully, you might. We'll see if Riley comes because my wife's due here soon, very soon. So it's going to be very interesting to see when that happens. Definitely excited. Final take, guys. For me, City of Buffalo. You guys are a bunch of punks, and I'm going to tell you right now, you guys better not give in. I'm sorry, not the City of Buffalo, the Buffalo organization, the Buffalo Bills organization is a bunch of punks. And I'm telling you right now, the NFL needs to figure something out and stop taking these teams away from the cities because it's getting ridiculous. You're a multi-billion-dollar franchise company, and that company of the Buffalo Bills, each individual company, as me and Ryan have seen it, the Chargers left San Diego to LA, and they thought that was greener pastures. It's not. But maybe it is now because apparently 90% of tickets have been sold out for the season, but it took them like 4 or 5 years to get to that point. It was a bad move. You don't take away teams from cities that have been there for 20, 30, 40 years. There's history in Buffalo. Guys dive through tables for your team, and you want to take that away because you're threatening the city because you need a better stadium. Figure it out yourself. Figure it out your damn self. I'm sick and tired of these owners pressuring the city to do that, Ryan, and I wanted to throw that out there. Sorry. I get irritated. Great show, guys. Thank you, Daniel. We appreciate it. David, thank you for being on. Alex was right last year. Of course, hell froze over, but he was still right. He did big Tom Brady and the Buccaneers to win the Super Bowl. I agree with you. And the fan base is great too. Why move them? I agree.
Absolutely.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We appreciate it. For Ryan and I, this is Game Winning Drive. Catch us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube and Twitter. We are on there. We have almost 3,000 followers on our Twitter account. It's growing. I'm so appreciative of that. We have about 1,200 on our Facebook page. We got to get that up. We'll get that up. And YouTube, we just got a YouTube channel. We have over 35 subscribers, which is really awesome. I'm really proud of that as well. So great work from all of us. And guys, I'm so appreciative of you tuning in tonight. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you next week.
Thank you for watching this episode of Game Winning Drive on the Sports Box. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media outlets. On Facebook at SportsBox Show, Twitter at SportsBox Show, Instagram at The SportsBox Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And also our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 free points. Thank you for joining us.